If you're ready to meet the sexiest, most successful version of yourself, stay tuned. Welcome to episode one, day one of Dream Life season. I'm Kimberly Cox, your host. I am so excited for today, for this episode, for this entire project that I am doing. So, this Dream Life season is all about little habits, little actions that lead to habits that help us to become the version of ourselves that has all the things that we want. It's how we get the dream life that we want, one tiny aligned action at a time. So, welcome to January 5th. Welcome to 2026, guys. If you don't know, we also dropped the Moonlit Creator Experiment over the weekend, which is so exciting. So there's like a lot of exciting stuff coming through. Today, we're going to talk about a lot of little habits that you can make to help you get moving, right? Little actions that when you stack them and when you do them intentionally and consistently, you become a different person, right? So, want to take a couple of minutes and do some housekeeping real fast. Tell you guys the flow that this is going to go in, which I won't do every episode. But because this is the first one, I kind of feel like I need to. And then we'll get into the segments, we'll get into everything. I'm so excited. All right. So, I'm going to tell you everything that we're going to do, all the little segments that we're going to do today. We're going to call it Fantastic 15, okay? And it is going to be less than 15 minutes most of the time, but it is getting your gratitude, your mindfulness, your grounding, and your inspiration all in you within the first 17 minutes or so of this episode, okay? Of any episode. That way, if all you can do is tune in for 20 minutes and like sit and drink a cup of coffee for 20 minutes with us, you're going to get your, you know, your you're going to get your gratitude, your grounding, your mindfulness and some inspiration to kick you on off on your day. After that, we're going to do some gentle movement, okay? Now, I'm not going to lie. I am not the person who is all into this exercise stuff, okay? So I will be eventually finding people who enjoy doing this stuff and they will be leading us all in these things. So that is something that I'm excited about because I know that other people are meant to work in Dream Life season with me. So for now, y'all have me. We're going to do some super simple stuff because when you get your body moving, especially as a neurodivergent person, it helps that brain to start kicking in and it helps to get some dopamine going. And it's all kinds of better. All right. So we're going to do that. We're going to talk about kitchen whatevers on this, right? Whether that's recipes, whether that's hacks, whether that's gadgets and, things like that. So for this week, we are going to go deep diving into meal planning because part of what helps us to set ourselves up in life is when we can do those little actions ahead of time that then take the decisions away, that then take the all of the other stuff away, right? So we're going to talk about meal planning and also meal prepping. We'll get to that later on in the week. And then we're going to go into the three rings of the neurocircus, okay? And if you don't know, I wrote three books. They are the three rings of the circus. The first one is talking about self. Okay, that is your center ring. You are the center ring of your circus. And as long as you can keep yourself filled up, yourself grounded, yourself in a good place, you can handle all of the curveballs that life throws at you easier. I didn't say you can handle them completely easy. It's not like a piece of cake all the time, but it's going to be easier when you keep yourself in a good space, right? The first ring of your circus is going to be home and family. That's all things your house, decorating, cleaning, clutter or decluttering, and kitchen and, food and school and just all of that stuff is goes in that ring, right? And then the last ring, the third ring, is your passion project. That could be anything from volunteering, having an actual business or a passion project, creating things. That's all in the wanting to give back, because most of us, we don't want to just have and that's it, right? We want to have, we want to share, we want to give back. And when we're able to give back from that place, fun things happen. We feel better about ourselves. We get more dopamine. It kind of keeps that cycle going. So, we are going to drop some nuggets every single day on all three of those and then send you off into your day. And then you come back the next day and we do it all over again with a slightly different theme under that same general theme, right? So, we have a monthly theme, we have a weekly theme, and then we have daily themes. I am also doing deep dives into some of the concepts that we talk about in the throughout the course of the week. We're going to do a deep dive in each ring. Those are going to be separate videos that you're going to find on this channel as well. And altogether, that creates this ecosystem of content, of support, of just having things there so that you are ready to rock and roll. Okay, so now that you know where we're going with everything, let's jump into the Fantastic 15. Okay, so we are talking today about our future self and about finding who that future self is, about getting to know that future self later on this week, and doing the shifts to become that person, right? So, for today, for your gratitude, I want you to think of at least one, preferably three things that you can think of that you have done in the last week to 2 weeks. Okay, you can go back a little bit. It's been crazy, right? We just came off of holidays and didn't even know what day it was most of the time and stuff. So I get it. If you have to think back a minute, you can think back a minute, all right? But what are some things that you have done that you are ridiculously grateful to yourself that you did later, right? So, for instance, maybe one of the things that you did was you didn't feel like it necessarily, but you had a little bit of extra energy. And so you were like, I'm just going to clean this kitchen tonight before I go to bed so that when I wake up in the morning, I don't have to look at a bunch of dirty dishes and I don't have to start immediately thinking about doing them and stuff. Or maybe, it could be as simple as like how many people on Christmas, how many people did like a make ahead breakfast situation where you put a casserole together or had, cinnamon rolls in a thing where all you had to do was like take it out of the fridge or something, let it come up to room temperature for a little bit, and then pop it in the oven. And while everybody's ripping open presents and whatever, there's breakfast cooking and you didn't even have to think about it, right? I know there's a lot of people that do that. There are a lot of situations where we do things like making sure that we are purchasing things for our kids for Christmas that we know that they're going to need. Because, okay, like how many times do we like sneak in toiletries and things like that to their stockings, right? So that now I don't have to go back out later and buy them. I just included them in this. They already have them. We're good to go. Those are all things that you can think of that you can be like, I'm grateful now that I did that then, right? I'm grateful that I kind of had the foresight. I did something earlier that made my life easier now. So, Drop that in the comments. Let us know at least one up to three things that you did in the last week or two that you are grateful for. Okay, we are going to take some deep breaths. We're going to do some box breathing. So it's 4 in, hold for 4, 4 out, hold for 4. And then we are going to get into um, some inspiration. So breathe with me in, out, in, out, in, out. Okay. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Okay. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute and I want you to picture what your perfect morning looks like, okay? We're going to start small. I could say the whole day, and I know that there's people that do that and love that. And if you feel like you can keep going on that, you can pause this and you can keep going if you want. But I want you to think about things like, where are you at? What is your bedding made of? Are you, where are you at? Where is the window located? Is there sun coming in, or do you have your like curtains, closed so you can't see it yet? Did you wake up with an alarm or did you wake up on your own? Starting to kind of put two and two together of the things like this is your perfect morning. This is not the perfect morning with having to work. This is the perfect morning, period. Okay. So once you open your eyes, do you lay in bed for a little bit? Do you kind of move your body around a little bit, stretch it out, and sit there and think about the things that you have to be grateful for? Like, what is your next move, right? Are we laying in bed for a while and just enjoying it and it's a really slow morning? Or do we kind of do our gratitude and then we jump up and we're on to, exercising or on to, doing something else for ourselves, right? We need to fill that cup up first. If you're still in that space where you're trying to, oh, I'm going to do this for this person and that for that person, let's bring it back. We haven't filled our cup up yet. So let's fill our cup up. What are some things that you would do, right? Are you going to, and if it's a perfect world, right? You're living in your perfect house. So, do you have a home gym? Do you go downstairs and, run on the treadmill or do the elliptical that you have? Do you have a pool and you go swimming every morning? Go swimming and then maybe you have a hot tub and you sit in the hot tub for a few minutes while you do some mindfulness, right? I want you to think about these things, the things that sound amazing, the things that you're like, oh, if I could do that every morning. And I want you to just envision yourself, right? Not somebody else. I want you to envision yourself doing these things. What kind of feelings are you having about this? Does it make you excited? Does it make you go, I would love this. Like, this feels amazing. Because if it does, I want you, when we get done with this part of it, I want you to pause this and I want you to write down the things that felt aligned and amazing and made you feel whole and like, oh, yes, 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 I would love to do this, right? Okay, so once we are kind of out of bed and we do whatever it is we do you get ready right away? Are you like taking a shower and changing clothes? Do we have coffee first before we do that? Like think through everything, right? Like maybe you wake up and you lay in bed for a little bit, and then you slowly kind of get your body going, and then you go and take a swim and then get in the hot tub for a little bit. And then maybe you have a cup of coffee and then jump in the shower and get ready for the day. And then you come out and you make breakfast for yourself and your family and you feed them and you get them going on whatever they have to do for the day. And you've done all of this stuff before you've like even thought about all of the things that you have to do for the day, right? There is a version of ourselves that is so good at what we do that it knows the next move without us having to think about it. Okay? I want you to think about that. It's innate nature for us to just gradually go from one thing to the next. And it happens in flow. It happens without having to stop and think, oh my goodness, what are the 5 different things I have to do this morning? Because we know what is important and we've already offloaded all of the decision making before this. Okay? We have done all of the decision making at different times so that when we wake up in the morning, the only thing we have to do is run our routine and everything else is taken care of. I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to get excited about that version, right? Whether that's because you've hired help to do some of the stuff, whether that's because you have learned how to prepare things in advance. Maybe you packed everybody's lunches the night before and you got everybody's clothes ready and breakfast is just grab and go stuff where you don't have to sit and slave over it all morning, right? When you're in that space where you know that you can have that if you just prepare a little bit in advance, suddenly we can get to a place where watching 7 episodes of that Netflix show or binge watching that YouTube creator for 3 hours at night before you go to bed doesn't sound as exciting as it does to take an hour out of that time and do the things you need to do so that your morning can be smooth. Because when your morning is more smooth, the rest of the day is going to go better. And when the rest of the day goes better, you're going to have more energy so that you can bring it back around and do the things you need to do that night before you go to bed to keep the thing going. I know sometimes we think, I have so many things that I want to do. As neurodivergent, women, we need to take moments of time every day to write down all the things that are taking up space up here. Okay? If it's taking up space up there, I need you to let it go. I need you to let it go. I need you to write it down. I need you to do the things you need to do so that we can move forward and know that that has a place. It's living in a home somewhere where you can revisit it when that time is there. Okay? So, what little actions? I know that we probably have, like, oh my goodness, I love all of this and I could do all of this. What is one little action? One little action out of all of those things that you know that you can do tonight before you go to bed so that tomorrow starts a little bit smoother? Maybe you're feeling super ambitious and you want to do two or three. You can write down two or three and you can attempt to do two or three, but I want you to circle one on your paper. And that is the one I want you to write first in the comments below. Okay? I want you to write the first one that you know you're going to do. The other ones can come and they can go. And sometimes, sometimes life happens and it's really difficult for us to pull ourselves back from like bad news or a really bad day at your 9 to 5 or having trouble with your kids or somebody's sick, right? Things do happen, and that's not to say that every single day is going to be perfect, right? What I can promise you is there will be really good days. So, on the days that it feels tough, on the days it feels hard, on the days it feels like I don't know if I can keep doing this, all you have to remember is it's going to get better. It's going to get better. We're going to have better days ahead. All right, well, let's jump into the move your body segment. All right, guys, welcome to the Move Your Body segment. As I said, I am not a exercise trainer or a teacher or anything like that. So we are going to make this super simple today, okay? I'm going to try to make these a little bit longer as we go. But for this first week, we're just going to do some simple stretches because I feel like that's something that we all need, right? We need to stretch our bodies out. We need to get the blood flowing in them. You just had a really good time in gratitude and mindfulness and some visualization and realizing some things. So, on that back end, we are going to move our bodies around and get the blood flowing so that we can move into the next part of this show. All right, I'm going to clip this mic real fast on me. We'll see how this works because hopefully you guys can hear me. All right, let me try to adjust to this. There we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to reach way up, 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 stretch. Okay, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. And we're going to do that one more time. Reach up, up, up. Wiggle your fingers if you need to. Stretch higher. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Okay, now we're going to stretch out our legs. I want you to just stretch them as hard as you can. Comfortably. Don't stretch them too much. But stretch, stretch, stretch. Okay, shake them out, shake them out, shake them out. Let's do it one more time. All right, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. Let's do some neck rolls real fast. Big circles. All right, now let's go the other way. All right, now we're going to shrug our shoulders up and then release. Shrug them again and then release. And shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. All righty, let's get into the next segment. Okay, so before we get into our kitchen segment, I wanted to take a couple of minutes just to tell you guys about the Moonlit Creator Experiment. If you don't know, we started that this weekend. It is a experiment. is exactly what it is. We are meeting weekly on Sundays. This first week, we're going to meet on Tuesday, so tomorrow. And it's going to be on a Zoom call, and we're just going to, I'm going to bring a little bit of structure to this, but then we're going to chat. We're just going to sit and chat, and we're going to talk about what we're excited to create. We're going to talk about what feels like it's holding us back. We're going to talk about things that light us up, and also how we can use the things that light us up to overcome and do the things that don't light us up. Because we all have those things that don't light us up that we have to do every single day. So, how can we find a way to take those things that light us up and use them to fuel the things that don't? This is it's a creator experiment. So if you are a creator, we're doing one platform intentionally and one platform that is experimental, that's fun. It doesn't have to be, it can be experimental in the form, it can be experimental in the topics, it can be experimental in both. We are just allowing ourselves to think outside the box and not try to do everything so perfect all the time. Um, and using that as fuel to help us not burn out when we have to do the stuff that has to be structured, right? I came up with this because obviously there is a lot that goes into creating all the different segments for Dream Life season, okay? I mean, if you've already watched, you've seen quite a few different segments come through already, and there's more on the way. So when we spend this time, right, doing these things, we're spending this time being very, like, I don't want to say rigid, but we have a structure and we have to go by the structure. We can feel like we're not getting to have the fun that we want. So adding that fun back in helps. So if this is something that sounds exciting to you, drop a moon emoji in the comments and I will get you guys going in the right place. And I will talk about that later. Now we're going to move on to the kitchen. All right, guys, welcome to the In the Kitchen segment. Obviously, I'm not in my kitchen. This is not a sustainable thing at the moment. So, we are going to talk a little bit about meal planning today because I think when we meal plan, there are a lot of different expectations. There's a lot of different thoughts. We need to do this, we need to do that. This is what meal planning is, this is what it isn't. So let's take the myths and kind of talk about what meal planning really is, okay? So, meal planning is not necessarily Monday we're having this, Tuesday we're having this, Wednesday we're having this. Meal planning is not necessarily these are the 5 meals that we are having this week, okay? Now, you can do that if that is something that you want to do, okay? If that is something that will help you, that will give you the control that you need in the moment, right? What did I talk about earlier? We are taking decisions away. We're making decisions once and then we don't have to do them again. And so if that is something that you feel like, okay, this works, this sounds like it's going to help, then I would ask you to try it, right? You can do something as simple as, okay, I'm going to figure out what 5 meals my family wants for the next 5 days. And I'm going to go buy the stuff and I'm going to have it in the house. And then, we can go from there. Whatever day we decide to have what is whatever day we decide to have what. We just have the food in the house and, I can work around stuff. Maybe you look at your schedule and you're like, okay, I know we're going to have 3 days that we're going to be out of the house in the afternoon most of the day. So I need three easy meals, and I need, I can do two that are, take more time. And so maybe you even go a step more, right? And you create meals where, okay, like I can create this meal that takes a while, but then I can turn the leftovers from this meal into something that's much quicker on a night when, it needs to be fast. There are all kinds of different ways we can maneuver this and structure this, and there is no wrong way to meal plan. Okay. And I think that that's something that we all are like, oh, well, if we don't do it this way, it's not meal planning. Or if we don't do it that way, if we don't, have all of the stuff already ready to go, that's meal prepping, not meal planning. And some people enjoy cooking. If you're one of those people that enjoys cooking and like that's something that fills your cup up, then, maybe you make it a point to start something earlier in the day that you have to kind of prepare stuff for, to give you that time to stop in the middle of the day and do something that fills your cup up, right? Before you have to, get the kids from school and start everything all over again and stuff. It could be something as simple, I'm telling you guys right now, it can be something as simple as I get my roast and my potatoes and my carrots in the pot and I put it in the fridge for a little bit. And then when it's time to actually put it in the oven, I can just take it out and put it in the oven when it's ready. And I don't have to cook or prepare then, but I was able to do stuff earlier in the day, which kind of gave me another boost, right? There's all different ways that we can do these and make these things work for us. All right. Maybe you need the Monday is this, Tuesday is this, Wednesday is this, so that you don't have to decide and you don't have to referee people arguing over what they want and whatever. It's just Mondays we do this. And that's another thing that you can do is you can make this as streamlined as possible. If you're in a very busy season, if you're in a season where there's a lot going on, or if you are in a season where you feel like you're kind of in survival mode, you can kind of do Mondays we have meatloaf, Tuesdays we have tacos, Wednesdays we have Italian, Thursdays, we have chicken, Fridays we have pizza. And then whatever day it is, you just do whatever that is. And it takes that pressure and that stress off of you, right? Some people don't like that. And that is 100% okay. If you don't like that, you don't have to do it that way. But knowing what is for dinner is probably one of the biggest helpers for the evening not spiraling into craziness. When I know what's for dinner, when I know how long it's going to take, when I know when I need to get it started so I can feed kids before they start to come undone, I can work my way backwards and figure out when I need to do what so that we can have the kind of night that we need. But if I don't know what's for dinner and now I've got kids that just came home from school and maybe I throw them a snack and then we have to do homework and we have to get ready for the night and they have all these other things that they have to do, and before you know it, it's 6 or 7 o'clock and you haven't even thought about dinner. Now you look in your fridge and you don't have anything that really goes together, so now I have to order pizza. It's going to take it another hour to get to me. We're looking at 7 or 8 o'clock before we're eating at this point, and everything is just feeling like it's going out of control. Okay. If you've lived that ever, meal planning, even if it's just, okay, these are the 5 meals or these are the ingredients to make meals that we like. And I have enough of them that I don't have to worry and I can do, you know, maybe you get like a weekend haul and weekends or whatever, and you get your Monday through Friday groceries along with that. And you have them and they're there and they're ready. And, it just gives you that peace of mind that you kind of know what's going to happen next, right? You can pick, you can choose, but you don't have to sit there and really try to like figure out from scratch. Okay, now I have to go to the store, or I'm going to run through a drive through, or whatever, right? You don't have to do as much. You just, okay, these are the different things. These are my choices. This is what I feel like cooking right now. Let's roll with it. So, what is one way that you can meal plan this week, right? Whether that's just like getting, and this is the hardest thing sometimes. Sometimes the hardest thing is just having the ideas to choose from. Sometimes we're like, I don't want spaghetti again. I don't want tacos. We just had cheeseburgers. I don't want. So, having a big list of all of the foods that you don't mind cooking, that you don't mind, making, that your kids like, that, a variety of different things, right? And just have that list so that then you have a list that you can go to and you can say, okay, this sounds good, this sounds good, this sounds good, this sounds good, this sounds good. And then you can figure out from there what the different things are that you need and go from there, right? So, what is one thing, whether that's creating the list, whether that is figuring out what is for dinner for the next 2 or 3 days, whether that is, whatever it is, drop it in the comments. What is one tiny action that you can do today to help you with mealtime? All right, guys. We are to the part of this where we are talking about the rings. So, we are going to talk first about the home and family ring, okay? We just got done talking about kitchen. I felt like the home and family ring was the next one, and we're going to go one, two, and three in order, at least for now. So, I want you guys to think about some of the things that you would love to see your family do. Whether that's exciting things like, I really want my kids to be involved in sports or in music, or my kids are really good in art and I'd love to see them get better at that. Whether that's, I really want my kids to like to learn. I want my kids to, keep their room clean. There's all these things that we have that are like, I really want the people that I love, and this can be your spouse too, right? I really want the people in my life to, and you have all these lists of these things, all right? I don't want you to necessarily write them down right now, but I want you to think about them, okay? Now, once you think about a few of them per person in your house, right? I want you to think about how you show your family that they can do the same thing. All right. I think a lot of times we live in a world where we put our own expectations on other people so that we can live vicariously through them, but we don't actually have to do the things and put in the work and whatever. And sometimes there's reasons for that, right? Sometimes, maybe there was an injury or something happens and you can't be athletic really anymore. That's a whole different thing. That's a whole other emotional healing that needs to take place in that if it hasn't already. But what are we doing that we are capable of doing in this time, right? To show our kids, our family, our spouse, even parents you do this with your parents, right? How are you leading by example? Because the version of you who has all of the things that you want, version of you that has all the things that you want is the version of you who is leading by example, who is doing these things, who is not just saying, I want you to clean, but is helping, is keeping your own area clean. If you have to look at your area and go, oh, don't look at my stuff, but I want you to do better than me. And I get that I want my kids to be better than me. I get that. But we have to challenge ourselves to do the things. If we want better, we have to be better. And that's not a, I know some people are going to be like, oh, that sounds so harsh. Like, I try so hard. And I'm not saying you don't, okay? I'm not saying you don't. I am saying that when we lead by example, things start to change. Kids start to follow suit even without you saying things sometimes because they pick up on the example, and when they see it for enough time, and yes, that means enough time, so it's not okay to do it once or twice and call it a day. You have to be about that, right? If you want your family to pick up after themselves, your area needs to be picked up. I'm sorry. It is what it is. If you're not willing to do it, what makes you think they're going to be willing to do it so that, like, yeah. And so this is one of those stepping into, and we're going to start small, okay? Because I know that some of us are like, oh my goodness, now that I think about this, there's so much that I would have to do differently in life if I want this. And maybe I just don't want it that bad. And maybe you don't, and that's fine. Or maybe you're scared because you're like, every time I try to start something new, I don't follow through with it. And so why should I continue to do it? And I say two things. One, it's because you haven't had a strong enough why. Okay. If your why was because other people were harping on you and that was the only reason, at some point, other people harping is going to be like, whatever, fine, let it go. I don't have the energy. I'm just going to let this go. You have to have a strong enough why. And on top of having the strong enough why, you have to be in a space where you are doing things consistently enough. It doesn't have to be every time. Sometimes your desk might be a little bit messy. And then when you realize it's messy, you clean it. If you're in the middle of doing something, you can leave stuff out while you're doing it. But if you're going to shut down for the day, pick stuff up. I should be saying this 100 times to myself, right? But when you want better, you have to do better. You can't do the same thing and expect different results. So, this is one of those places where I say, like, the change starts with us in our families. If we are not willing to be the example, if we are not willing, and this is everything from cleaning house or, doing studying or learning a new skill, speaking up for ourselves, talking about our emotions. There's all these different things, right, that we do that we shouldn't do and that we would never want our kids, our spouse, our parents to have to live that way. So become the version of you who does the things the way that you would want your family to do them. What's one small thing that you can do today? One small thing. You can pick one thing from one of the lists, right? We're not going to go overboard. It takes little bitty shifts, but all it takes is a little bit, right? Maybe it is picking up. Maybe you're like, I don't really like it when my kids leave their garbage all over the place. And then you look and you have like napkins and a couple of, pop bottles or a water bottle and a couple other things in your area. And you're like, well, they're kind of just doing what I do. So you pick up your stuff, right? Make a mental note, put a sticky note somewhere, right? Before you tell your kids, clean up your garbage, grab your garbage and throw it away. That's another one. Grab your stuff, throw it away first, and then you can be like, I just picked up my stuff. Why don't you pick up your stuff too? Follow or lead by example so that they can follow suit. And you're going to have an easier time getting everyone on the same page. All right, we are moving on to the center ring. All right, welcome back. We are almost done, guys. We have two more major segments in the closing, and Dream Life season episode 1 is in the books. I am so excited. So, we are talking about becoming that version, your future self, and becoming that version, right? So I want you to do the same thing that we did for your morning, right? When we were kind of envisioning what the perfect morning would be during our inspiration. But I want you to take it to a little bit of a different space. I want you to envision how, like, what success really means for you. Okay. So some of us are obviously going to go to the obvious. I'm going to have a house. It's going to have a pool, or it's going to have this thing that I really want, and I'm going to be living in this one space. And that's fine. That's fine, because that sets the stage, okay? We need to know those things. We need to know, where are you living at? Do you have a job? Are you working from home? Are you working with a particular company that you really want to work with? Are you doing a particular kind of job that you really want? Are you retired? Like, what are those things? We need to know things like, is it the ability to give to people, right? Like, so I think success looks different for different people, but like, there are people who would be like, okay, if I could just like know that I was making a difference in a certain amount of people's lives, right? And know that I'm making the difference, not just like, hoping that somebody's, that it's making a difference. It could be something like, we are able to give, we are able to, our kids have what they want for the most part. But we're also teaching them how to save. We're teaching them responsibility. Maybe they're working with us, or they're helping us with something, and we're paying them, and we're helping them to save money for the future, right? There's all these different things, and everybody's is going to look different. This is going to be a shorter segment, because if you're going to do this right now, then you're going to pause this section once I get done explaining. And if not, you're going to like make a mental note, write a post-it note, stick it on your computer, on your refrigerator, on whatever, to come back and do this exercise, and then drop in the comments what your takeaway is on this. But I want you to just kind of sit there and think about all of the things, like all of the things that you want, all of the things that you would consider successful, right? And really go down all of the different avenues, right? Go down the, like, what do I have, like, physically? How do I feel? What does every day look like? How is my family? All those different things. Go down those different things, kind of really think about it. And then I want you to come up with one or two things that feel like you can do some steps to get there now. Okay. So maybe one of the things is, I want to make a difference in people's lives. And so maybe what you want to do is have a YouTube channel with 1 million followers. But because you don't have that right now, and 1 million followers is probably not going to happen overnight, you think about how you can touch and definitely impact the most people. And you're like, well, I could give to this one charity a little bit, and then that would help impact a lot of people. I could go help out at my kid's school, and that would help impact the teacher and all the kids. And I want you to think of outside of the box things that you can do, little things. Doesn't have to be huge, right? It could be, I'm going to go volunteer 1 hour, at my kid's school. Or I am going to go to the soup kitchen, one of the soup kitchens in the area, and serve, right? I want you to start to kind of think outside of the box. Because again, and I've said this and I'll say it over and over again, I feel like we are being called to be about our business and let how things happen unfold the way they're supposed to. Now that you have thought about what it is And one simple, easy way that you can make that happen, I want you to type it in the comments to hold yourself accountable. And let's move on to our last actual segment. All right, guys, welcome to the last segment. This is our passion project and our business segment. And I am excited about this. I really, really am. We're going to talk about the Moonlit Creators Experiment. I know I talked a little bit about that before. Um, I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about why I think that it's important if you are a neurodivergent to create, okay? So I talked about it in there a little bit when I was saying that as neurodivergent people, a lot of times we crave the giving back. We crave the ability to help, the ability to give to people. It's one of the things that truly, genuinely lights a lot of us up. And if that's the case, one of the best ways that you can kind of help and give back is to give back part of who you are. Okay, so when we create, it's kind of like we take little pieces of ourselves and we put them out on display for people. And then you get to tell me, like, okay, do you like this or not? Right. And sometimes that can feel scary. That can feel hard. That can feel daunting to us because it's like we're wearing our heart on our sleeve in that moment. And it can keep people from doing the creative stuff, right? They can go, I don't know if I want to do this now. I think I'm going to stick over, to not doing it, right? But when we create, when we are taking things and creating new things or sharing the wisdom that we have, sharing the experiences that we've had with other people, it is amazing how fast we can fill our own cup up just by doing that, right? And I'm going to tell you this, I'm going to preface this by saying that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to put a video out there about what you've been through and have 50 comments on it and 25 likes right away. Like, that's not how life works, right? So, part of what the Moonlit Creator Experiment is about learning to enjoy the creation for the sake of creating. Okay, yes, we want to give back. Yes, we want to help people. Yes, we want to spread our message and our story. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. But sometimes we just have to be in that space where we are willing to kind of go out on a limb, where we are willing to kind of do it anyway, right? And that's one of the reasons why the Moonlit Creator Experiment is so important. Because what it is it's giving you one space that you're going to work on intentionally. Okay. So for me, I'll use myself as the example in this. For me, my intentional space is here on YouTube with the Dream Life season morning show, and then all of the things that go with that, right? So if I'm in a space where I can do all of these things, I'm kind of going through a sort of a structure of things, right? And so while I do get to kind of create, I don't ever script anymore. I write little bitty like lines of what I want each thing to be like, and then I just let myself go because that helps me to feel like, okay, I'm putting myself into this and not like I am like repeating a script that somebody or something, if you know Chat GPT, created for me, right? However, that being said, sometimes we put our heart in our sleeve and nobody comments and nobody views it and nobody even knows it exists. And that can feel like draining. It can feel like, why am I even doing this? Why am I putting in all this effort, right? And we know that consistency is part of how we move things forward. When we do things consistently, it always helps. It helps any algorithm that there ever was. But how do we do things consistently when what we're doing is draining us? And so that is where this kind of experiment came in. I was like, what if I'm creating over here intentionally, and then I pick another platform and I can just have fun? I can create whatever I feel like for that day. Whether that's a picture of my cat, whether that's a carousel post, whether that's, okay, my kids and I just came back from the zoo, or this is what I'm having for dinner, or I'm doing a before and after clean with me kind of thing, right? Like, it doesn't have to be about what my actual platform is about. It could be, okay, I'm going to do this creative endeavor where, and this is something I've not done this yet, but it's something that's kind of on my radar for this year, where I'm thinking about doing something where I like pick, like, it'll probably be in February actually, because there's fewer days in February. So but like, learn one drawing technique every day. So learn how to draw one simple thing, right? Every single day. And then follow the progress of that in videos so that I'm showing other people, like, look, this is not something that's necessarily one of my favorite things, right? It's not something where I'm like, oh yes, I definitely want to learn these things, but it's also teaching me, it's kind of making my brain think outside of the box a little bit. So within all of that, it's giving me like this, like, ability to be creative and an ability to learn and to adapt and to go, okay, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try this thing and I'm going to see, maybe I can get good at it. Maybe I will like it once I'm good at it. Who knows, right? So doing things like that, whether that's like like I just said, like a challenge where you challenge yourself to do that for so many days, and then every day maybe you take one picture of, or one like 2-second video of that picture, and then you morph them all together for the week. And that's like a post, right? So we're creating for the fun of it. We're creating because the more we create, the more we get used to creating, the more we exercise our creative side of our brain, right? The easier it is to continue to do it. And on top of that, another really great part of this is we have more content, we can try different things, and maybe the way that we're doing things is something that we are doing it. Like, I do a lot of talking head because it's what I have the ability to do. Sometimes I do B-roll with, voiceover and music. It takes a lot more time to do B-roll with voiceover and music though. So maybe you're at that place where you're like, I like doing talking head, but everybody responds better when I do B-roll and, talking. So now I can take the amount of energy that I'm spending doing talking head videos and put that into doing the B-roll and stuff like that. And I might have to cut back a little bit consistency wise. I can post 3 times a week instead of, every day, right? And I can take it and I can shoot, maybe one day I shoot 3 different, things, right? And then like the next day I work on like putting the things together and then adding the voice and the music. And then we start to like trickle that out. There's all kinds of different ways that we can do this. But when we are free to experiment and we don't feel like we have to stick to the strict schedule all the time, it helps so much. It brings so much more fun, so much more spontaneity, which is something that a lot of us as neurodivergents need, right? We can't just have the boring all the time. We have to have some novel stuff in there too. So, having that novelty coming through and being able to kind of lean on the novel side of things to pull us through on the more, structured, the more intentional content. That is what I'm hoping this is going to turn into. I don't know for sure, but if you are excited, if you want to get into this, drop an I'm in the comments and let me know, and I will get you all of the information to get into it. All right, let's wrap this amazing episode up, guys. Wow, wow, wow. I'm going to just give you guys a little behind the scenes for a minute. So I did 2 deep dives. I did a live first. So I did a live that I did live on TikTok and YouTube today. Then I did 2 of the deep dives that you'll see later this week. And then I went down the road and just recorded one segment after the other after the other. And when I got to the center ring, right? When I got to, I think I've got it labeled as the Dream Life Daily Report or Dream Lab Daily Report. And when I got to that part, my microphone cut out. And so I took a break and I did a few things and it wasn't charging and I didn't realize it. So then I tried to, start again and it didn't work. And then I couldn't figure out why. And so I finally was like, okay, maybe it's not making the connection, and it wasn't. So I had to play around with getting, the connection made so that these mics would charge. And I finally did that. And I decided when I had to let these charge that I was going to charge my phone and I was going to send all of the clips over to my laptop so that I could start editing stuff. And my goodness, I am so excited with the way that this episode shaped up. I know that I cut out in the middle of that last, not the last segment, but like I said, the center ring segment, and so I added a little piece back to that one. We just recorded, like I said, the business side, the passion project business ring, and now again I'm doing the wrap up, and I am just so grateful for how this is turning out. Um, definitely drop it in the comments if you got anything out of this. If you are excited, this is going to be 5 days a week, guys. 5 days a week, 45 minutes to an hour. Tomorrow's is probably not going to be as long because I won't be as long-winded talking about stuff, I promise. But I am so excited to bring this to you guys. And by the way, if anybody has a count on how many times I said I'm so excited in this, I would love to know that. I thought about that. I'm like, I should have a thing, a giveaway for anybody who can tell me how many, I'm so excited I said through this, right? Because I am so excited. And it's genuinely lighting me up inside knowing that I am able to bring this kind of content to you guys. And it's been a stretch, right? It's been a lot going into this, and like I said, I thought I would be further along than I am. I thought I was going to have this whole week already done. I start class tomorrow again, guys. But I'm calm because I know that this is meant to happen. And because I know it's meant to happen, I know that it will. And so I am excited. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope you have an amazing day. Happy Monday. And I will talk to you guys all tomorrow.